Jana. So just a short introduction, and I like it because actually Mike was talking about it. You define yourself as a quality assistant, not as quality assurance engineer, and that's pretty cool because literally Mike just mentioned that. Um, you are in the gaming industry based on what I know. I actually have some points here. I will take it here. Over 10 years in the gaming industry. Yeah, of course that I do my homework. I'm a tester. And you believe in the testers actually need to challenge themselves in order to get to new heights. And I completely believe in that. We cannot stick to the same things that we do all the time because we don't grow. And what caught our eye about this session that you suggested was that you want to talk about how to go into a quality mindset more than how to do specific things, specific actions. And it's something that I subscribe very much, and I believe very much that it's obvious that you cannot test quality into a product, but it's also not trivial to have your team, your entire team, actually have the correct quality mindset. So I am very much looking forward to listen to what you have to say. And again, people, questions, go ahead and shoot them on Slack or the Q&A. And Jana, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. I'm happy to be here, and I want to talk about how we actually tamed our quality dragons we had. But first, a bit more about myself. As Joel just mentioned, I'm now working for more than 10 years in the games industry, but even before, I already had a passion for games, browser games, online games, console games, and also board games. And hey, I'm still enjoying a good game session. At InnoGames, however, I started as a community manager. Hence, I know from own experience how important it is to keep a close contact to our players, to create a strong foundation that promotes the continued improvement of our games. But I always loved to hunt bugs, so I later switched to the GA department, where I was looking after Forge of Empires with a variety of duties, which ranged from test automation, helping the team to produce high quality features efficiently, empowering the developers to confidently test, and also developing tools to enhance the testing process. Right now, I'm more managing our QA community and supporting the various QAs and teams with their QA approach, the test automation, career development, and a lot of knowledge sharing. Also a little bit about the company. We are based on Hamburg. We have 7 live games which are regularly released, some of them on a daily basis, at least on the beta server. So that's quite a challenge, as the quality on a daily basis needs to be releasable. But as part of this company, I'm only one of 16 tamers. We have only 16 QAs who joined me on our journey and took on this challenge. But our teams don't just exist of tamers. So when we look at our product development, we have a magic number of 105, as this is how many developers we overall have. But as for our games, a significant role is also played by game design, which of course adds to this number. But we should also not forget about the whole product management, which will increase our number even more. And if we are honest, there are even more people involved within product development. So which means that the tamers are not alone in this magical world. We also have some dragons who represent our challenges within the development. Especially as problem solving is one of the most important skills in both life and work. As already at an early age, we learn to deal with simple problems, big and small. Like from our first wobbly steps, where we solve the problem of balancing on 2 ridiculously small feet, to figuring out which shaped block goes into which hole. So humans are just natural problem solvers, at least when it comes to figuring out how to navigate the physical world. But as we grow, our lives become more complex. Problems move from the purely physical to include the theoretical. different kinds of problems created by our modern digital world. And often, one problem rarely comes alone. And so are our creators in our magical world. They come in different forms and complexity. Some can hide very well in the dark or almost invisible. Some can be very hard to tame. And all the departments we have, they all have their own dragons to tame. So we need to recognize that the interests and perspectives of many stakeholders must be considered, not only when testing, but also developing the software. As the game may look good or work from your angle, but there are always other angles to cover. And for a single person, this of course can feel overwhelming and to take on at any given point. It may feel like that you're bound in chains or trapped in fire. There are many things which can contribute to this feeling, like finding critical issues too late and literally getting caught up in a firefighting mode, basically chasing our own tail by reacting to issue after issue. And that requires us to develop a lot of observational skills and to recognize things that deceive us. Once you have seen one kind of problem, similar problems aren't so mysterious because you have heuristics that you can use to recognize on how it's done, which is not only similar to testing, but also to development, like with using and recognizing design patterns. And for us, moving to a preventive approach and with quality assistance, we reduce the traps and are working on extinguishing the fires. Because if everyone on the team takes the responsibility for the quality, we can avoid many of these traps. As quality concerns the whole team, it can't be just verifying the quality at the end. It needs to be built in from the start. So if we have a product full of traps and unknown complexity, it's more likely to cause many fires later on. So the better structured our products are, the less traps causing fires we will have. But this cannot be done alone. We are just one team, having one goal to make great games for our players, with high quality virtual worlds that link millions of people around the world, anywhere, anytime. And this is a team effort where everyone contributes to. Every team member is working together in every step of the development process. But this also means that everyone who contributes to the product is responsible for the entire feature development lifecycle. This starts with the idea and design of a feature till the feature is actually released to the players. And it doesn't even stop there, as we listen and iterate on the feedback we get back from the players. And in this team, there is no such thing as, I'm done with my part, and now it's only of your concern. So if we fight together, we can make this magic happen, as the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and this also goes for teams. But you may wonder now, if everyone is responsible for the quality of the product, what is the role of QA? And here, QA is assisting the whole team, so they can do their best in providing high quality. This also means that the tasks of QA may vary between the teams, as the teams are different and also in different stages of development. On top, the tasks in the development process are manifold. We have UI UX, who are, for example, taking care of UX research, interaction design, and usability. Game design, who help with the content strategy, are designing the features and writing stories. Our product managers, who are managing the product, owning the product vision, and prioritizing requests. Our community managers, who are communicating the mindset of our players and advocate for them. Developers, who are developing the product, trialing new technologies, and working with technical depth. And many more departments which are involved. And we have QA, who are involved with risk management, challenging requirements, automated tests, and promoting for quality. And this has a lot of overlaps with all the other areas. For us, QA needs this fundamental understanding of each of the roles in the team, and as such is a generalist by trade. They require this broad understanding of the roles to be able to understand how projects and their products are progressing, and as a result, provide feedback on practices or processes that could be improved. So everyone is contributing to high quality. But to achieve this, we had to build a quality mindset and to go away from the developers just throwing the software over the fence and then we start testing. And for me, a quality mindset is simply the way that we think and talk about quality in our company. Whether you know it or not, this mindset exists. And it's important to align it with your company so that you can approach a QA strategy effectively. An aligned view of quality leads to a shared vision. And the shared vision will help everyone to focus on the same goals. In my view, a true quality mindset is an environment where team members genuinely care about the quality of their work and make decisions based on achieving that level of quality. And you have a quality culture when there is a recognition amongst all levels of the company that quality should be achieved for its own sake and not just to meet approval. This is, of course, fundamental to making a product that's fun and effective in order to improve the user experience. So if your team has that in mind all times, the odds are you already have a good quality culture. And if not, the issue isn't that your company doesn't care about its end users. The quality culture just hasn't been fully fostered, leaving you with a great opportunity to make improvements that will trickle out into every aspect of your teams and raise the standard of everything that you do. Following, I will share 5 steps we took to build our quality mindset. And in the first part, the strategic planning is a key function that helps to set priorities, allocate resources, and ensures that everyone is working towards common goals and objectives. However, for it to be effective, we had 2 important tools, a mission and a vision. These serve as a guide for creating objectives and goals, thus providing a roadmap that is to be followed by everyone. But at the top level, you need buy-in from management. You can create a culture of quality from the top down, but management does need to support it. They can influence the conversation around this culture shift, and their backing gives you credibility. If you want to raise the standard of your quality culture or establish a new one, the first thing you should do is to make sure that your company values are clearly defined. Think about the values your company already has in place. Do they speak to quality? Are these values ones that you want, or is there room for improvement? The most important aspect of a mission statement, however, is that it is actually put to action and are not just some words printed on an office wall. And for us, quality is already a deeply anchored value. And over the years, we have tried multiple QA approaches till we landed with quality assistance. And this was inspired by Atlassian, which formed our new QA vision. Because quality assistance offers a fresh automated approach to testing that complements development of high quality software. Quality assistance allows the whole software delivery team to contribute across the entire lifecycle from planning to post-development. It is about encouraging greater collaboration, enabling cross-functional teams to play a more active role in the quality and testing process. This approach helped us to continue to scale, release more features more often, and to more people in more places. We didn't want to simply maintain the quality levels, but to continually raise them. So defining our QA vision was quite inspiring. It had a clear motivational effect on everyone within our QA community. It created an energy and enthusiasm, increasing the commitment and fostering change. Now, this is especially important in difficult or stressful times, as having a clear vision will produce persistence and remind you why you started. It provides you a sense of purpose and direction, especially for the teams. So your vision will help you to define your short and long-term goals and guide the decisions you make along the way. But as quality assistance is not just a new process, but a whole mindset change, it also affected our team structures. And we had new QA members joining over the years. When we realized that the vision itself is not enough to give guidance to the new members and teams. So we defined the QA philosophy, which gives a bit more clear direction on the vision. And in there, everyone in the product team, from game designers, product managers, artists, developers, they are all responsible, empowered, and have the necessary toolset to ensure they're providing quality content to the product. And quality in this instance is defined as not breaking the status quo. All currently implemented gameplay elements should not be broken by any of the new content which is delivered. And they should not increase the technical depth of the product. But also, the master branch will not be disrupted by any changes any of the contributors of the team have made. Because an unstable master branch has impact on the whole team and could prevent other people from working, which would cause a business impact. As well, releasing should be made easy. And the product team should have trust and faith that the test automation process provides valuable feedback about the stability and also usability of the version. And to foster this, the internal QA community operates as a single organism, which provides help and assistance across the entire company. This is achieved by regular cross-pollination of knowledge with various knowledge exchange platforms, and QAs taking part in other product teams to learn and provide outside perspectives and give ideas for improvements. The role of QA is to build and provide the team's testing toolset to meet the needs of the team. But tools can not only be defined in software solutions, but also processes and knowledge bases. This also includes coaching and education of the team on testing matters such as testing techniques and the tester mindset. As part of this, the defects should not be left unattended and left to pile up. They should be resolved before merging to reduce the increase in defect depth. But this also requires continuous collaboration with the whole team on how to tackle incoming bugs to avoid piling them up. Therefore, QA should also have a focus on speed and efficiency. QA should work on enabling everyone else on the team to drive and maintain the quality, to keep themselves from becoming a bottleneck. NQA adds additional value by creation of quality intelligence, which can be defined as providing an overview of the product quality, defining new ways to visualize and display quality KPIs, or analyzing data sources to preempt and prevent quality affecting issues. But having this written down is just one part of the story. You can write a lot of things down, but they're useless when not communicated effectively. And change is hard. But going through change is one of the few guarantees in our world. We all must change over time to adapt to fluctuations in the marketplace, to capitalize on new ideas and technologies, to make improvements, and to adjust to internal and external circumstances. But people don't like change. Change means uncertainty and loss of control. It can mean unwelcome surprises and the feeling that everything is unfamiliar. Change can mean unwanted moves, concerns about competence, and loss of dignity. At least that's how people feel when change isn't communicated well. There is no way to completely eliminate the discomfort during times of change, but the right communication can at least help to get through it. As the message, no matter how important, is lost if it's not conveyed properly. So why should your team members care about quality? What is in it for them? Do all of them care about the same thing? And with the introduction of quality assistance, we had quite some successful and effective communication, which in the end went through 4 different stages, of which the first one was the awareness, building an internal awareness through clear, timely, and personalized communication, which we send via the favorite communication channels in order to eliminate or mitigate the fear and resistance to change. This can be presentations, one-on-one sessions, or even group sessions. In the second phase, the understanding, it's more about communicating the what, why, how, when, who, as well as the what's in it for me. This is important to help the team members to understand the benefits of the change and to see the positive sides of it. Later on during the change, it leads to acceptance. In this change, the team members accept the change and act in accordance with the instructions. However, it's the QA's job to keep the team members updated, to encourage their share of voice and make them feel involved in the process. And in the last stage, we have the commitment. Once the team members accept the change, communication is not done. Moreover, this is a stage in which most of the initiatives fail. Communication needs to keep flowing, and employees need to be able to collaborate. And while we went through these 4 stages, we also came up with a couple of best practices we used then for new teams who started with quality assistance. That the communication must be regular and frequent. At the beginning of any initiative, it's imperative to set the expectation that there will be regular communication that is credible and comprehensive. Often there's a tendency for people to wait to send any type of communication until all of the information is known and available. I see that clearly as a mistake, as it's much more important to cycle your communication and repeat the same message often than to wait until all the information is complete and perfect. So what if you don't know something? Just tell them. You can always say, we don't have all the information yet, but this is what we do know. Also, do not over-rely on email. Often people get more than 50 emails a day. So why should we think that an email is going to have enough of an impact to change someone's behavior? I'm pretty sure that no one will change what they're currently doing solely because an email has gone out saying they should. Hence, we should use a variety of communication means. As even in today's technology-driven world, face-to-face discussion remains the most powerful method for communication. To that end, it's imperative to find as many ways as possible to meet either in small groups or in one-on-one sessions. And my favorite, don't use a top-down, one-size-fits-all communication. It's one of the biggest problems in communication, but also one of the easiest to solve. Often communication is top-down, meaning it's written of the point of view of the manager writing the communication rather than the point of view of the recipient. As the overriding rationale here is that once everyone reads the message, they will understand why the change is happening, they will be on board, and resistance will be non-existent. But that's usually not going to happen. Instead, use target-specific communication. Each target group needs to be considered differently. What is and what is not changing for that group? What kind of language and examples will resonate for that group? All communication must address the two most important questions from a recipient's point of view. What's in it for me? And what does it mean to me? And needless to say, different recipients will have different answers to those questions. Hence, communication must include a feedback loop. Every communication that goes out must have a way for information and feedback to come back in. Feedback loops are crucial in order to allow team members to express their thoughts and feelings. And it's a perfect way to gather information about any potential sources of resistance to change. And monitoring and evaluating your communication for effectiveness can help you with that. You should evaluate your communications to ensure that they are achieving your goals. Test the effectiveness of your communication for both the content and process, maybe with a smaller group first. The whole communication is also really important when we want team members to take ownership of the quality topic. But when I talk about ownership, I don't mean any financial reward here. In fact, it has been proven that financial incentives do little to improve culture. If anything, it has often a negative impact. I'm more talking about empowerment of the team, trusting them to do their jobs, and including them in key decisions-making process that directly affects their work. And for this to work, the team members must feel comfortable in making quality decisions and raise any concerns and questions, even if it goes against any directives. But how can you help them to take ownership? One part is accountability. Being accountable is being responsible for the result. It's not just about the individual and their goals or commitment. It's about acknowledging that your actions affect other team members to accomplish their goals. When you say, I have got this, it means you will deliver as promised on time, but it also means you are forthcoming when you fall short. If you can't deliver on time, or the results will not be as strong as you hoped, to be honest and proactive with your communication. By being forthcoming, you respect the impact you have on the teammates. And being accountable is also a major factor in building trust. It tells others, you can trust me to do what I say I'm going to do. So trust is confidence that your teammates are working towards the same objectives you are. A good communication and the shared understanding of objectives are critical. But beyond that, it's important to trust that your teammates will do the right things and come back with results. If you don't trust your teammates, you spend time and energy following up and managing details you shouldn't be. And on the other side, if you don't feel trusted, you are less likely to take initiative because you anticipate criticism for your approach. So having trust tells others, I believe in you. I believe you will do the right thing, and I believe you will do what you say you're going to do. For that, you should also clearly define what success looks like. And that's a key factor in encouraging team members to take ownership. It's to establish expectations and defining what success looks like. This means defining the end goal. What end result do you want to achieve? But do so without dictating everything they must do to reach it. By focusing on the end goal, you're placing trust in your team members, and that trust empowers them. So let your team members know clearly what end result you're seeking and give them the trust to work out how to get there. But as always, start with the why. As much as possible, communicate why a person's work is important. This is about you providing the guiding vision. People are more engaged in something they think is important. Understanding why something is important leads to people doing a better job. So provide your team with a clear vision about why their work is important and where it fits with the bigger picture. When people know which way they are marching and why, they can march more confidently. And to help with the marching direction, quality champions may be a good option. Team members generally look up to champions at work. These may or may not be their managers. These may be individuals who command respect from their peers because of their work ethic, experience, and many other positive attributes. Being the champion for quality doesn't mean being the only one who cares about it, the only one who does anything to improve it, or even the one who is best at improving quality. So that might be true. The champion for quality is the voice of motivation and direction for the team to create a high quality product. That's at least how I picture the role of QA. As QA, you are the voice. Ask what people consider as important for quality so that you know what areas you should focus on so the team can deliver this. Is it more important for the product to be fast and accurate? Is it expected to handle a large amount of users? What sort of failures are acceptable and what are unacceptable? Teach people that quality matters. In order to achieve the level of quality desired, the whole team needs to be on board. Show people the full story, how a lapse of quality in one area eventually leads to a negative customer experience and then a negative experience for the company. Teach them about cutting corners now, leading to more work later on to do it right. This shows them the importance of their work and makes them feel a bigger part of the company and encourages them to put in the extra effort now than later. But also train people in how to build a quality product by giving them the tools they need, the test cases, the conditions to experiment with, a peer to review, and a clear understanding of what they need to do to ensure they are creating a high quality product. So be the champion of quality in your team. Ask, teach, and train. And as Mark Twain already said, training is everything. The message of a culture of quality must be enforced and reinforced with a structured training program. However, it's not sufficient to just relay a message. Team members must be trained on how to identify problems and get to the root cause of the problem, using well-defined techniques and processes. So the end result should be that the team members understand and agree with the core values, beliefs, and behaviors that help drive a culture of quality within the team and organization. And there are 6 skills, especially for QA, we deemed important. Not every team member may be a fan of the whole team approach to quality from the beginning, as there is no more us and them. But to help them to genuinely embrace a new approach, you will have to convince them, which requires a great deal of influencing skills. Those will also be needed when it comes to the testing activities, for which time not only needs to be included in the estimations, but also needs to be actually executed. It's important that the additional time is also into considerations by the product managers, as it may prolong some of the deadlines for features, at least when quality assistance is newly introduced. If you ask me on how you can practice the skill, I can only say it will take time. As before telling a team what to do, you have to gain their respect. And it's totally okay if you're wrong. But don't stop asking questions. Listen to the response fully and completely. As by asking and listening, you're respecting your team members' knowledge and encouraging a good work rapport. The respect is earned over time and by not being afraid to tackle difficult tasks. Also accept that you can be wrong and trust others to make good decisions based on the input you provide. Developers are often experts in coding, but they don't have much testing expertise. So you need to be able to give accurate and concise input on the individual features and stories. Every developer goes into testing their own software with bias, but they also know how the software was written. So avoid asking them to do unnecessary tasks just in case. Remember that you need to gain their trust. So to support the developer with testing, the best advice I can give is to ask questions. Ask to explain the implementation details of which information the developer is often the best source. And exploratory testing can be a valuable technique for developers, but this also takes practice. And everyone on the team can support the testing when they are taught how. This goes for developers, but also for designers and product managers. So train your team in specific testing skills to empower them to confidently test. Coach for the testing mindset to make your team better testers. You know how to test. So look back on how you learned about testing and pass this experience on to your team. Use presentations, workshops, hands-on testing, which are just a couple ideas which can be used. But choose your tool wisely, depending on what works best for your team, and be there for any questions when they have doubts. Especially as testing is often seen as dreary, repetitive, and just mindlessly clicking around, which paints a negative picture of testing. But if the testing activities are in fact tedious and boring, they are doing it wrong. Your team needs to see the value of testing and that it's a challenging and also fun activity. Share your own motivation with your team. Show your passion for testing, and your team will follow. Communication is, as already mentioned, one of the most important aspects within the team. And this shall be facilitated by QA to make sure that requirements and bugs are communicated across all stakeholders. So make sure that developers have the right tools and environments to confidently test. Organize testing dojos, and most of all, define the quality bar which you want to see. When developers take care of most of the testing work, you can focus on the processes, inefficiency, and how the overall quality of the team and products can be increased. You're a champion for quality and shall lead changes and improvements. So try improvements and experiment with changes. Involve the developers in which changes to try to get them on board with it. And fortunately, the days when QA was considered an afterthought are mostly behind us. These 5 steps may look quite complex, and you may wonder where to start. I can give 4 additional advices here. Be creative in finding new ways for utilizing existing resources. Often we have tools or other resources which we are not using efficiently. Like we were using our beta server for a long time, but we only deployed them with release versions in the past. Once we started to deploying it daily, we had a huge source of early feedback from our players, as we got them on a daily basis and not just every 2 weeks. You can also start with small steps and increase them with time. You don't have to change your whole organization at once. You can start with one team. You can experiment there and expand to more teams over time. But you should have a clear vision on what you want to achieve. Which also means you should not reinvent the wheel. apply the learnings from the teams who already ahead, or get in contact with other companies or QAs who follow a similar model you want to introduce. And the last advice, get everyone on board. Especially management needs to give the time and the flexibility and freedom that you can experiment with new changes. So let's tame our dragons together for a brighter world. Thank you very much. And I guess we still have some time for questions.
Actually, Jana, we do. I'm checking here. If anyone has any questions, go ahead either on the Slack channel or on the Q&A. I can see quite a lot here. A lot of people were actually amazed by your images. I'm guessing they are from your company. So pretty cool.
The images are all graphics from Ilvenar, which is a fantasy city builder, which has like elf, humans, sorcerers, wizards, goblins, orcs. So there's a huge variety of characters they offer.
Excellent. I wanted to ask you something. What do you think that would be the most compelling way of getting management on board? You said it at the end, and I totally agree. Meaning, you can have all the good intentions in the world, but you're asking people to modify a lot of things. And some of the people will say, yes, willing to do it. Others will need a little bit of a push-up. How do you get them on board?
Actually, to show them where the time is spent. Because you can either solve the bugs directly when implementing features, or you can solve the bugs much later, but that costs more time and just costs more. So if you can show them on how this will save the time overall, they might be more on board, because if we can deliver features faster, it will means more business value in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, we had developers who were saying that they were slower, but the overall team progress was much faster.
And you were measuring that, or was it more of a feeling that you had overall? Meaning, were you measuring velocity or something like that, or was it more, okay, we feel that it's working better?
We were both tracking the amount of user stories we could manage during the sprints, and also on where bugs were, where we found the bugs. And
so
the more bugs we found,
measurements.
So the more bugs we found during development, the more user stories we could also finish during a sprint.
Okay. There are a couple of questions on the Slack that I will let you to answer. There's one here that I think it's interesting on the Q&A, and this person, John Drake, he's asking specifically, what was the biggest challenge or challenges that you had while convincing developers? Meaning, anything specifically that we need to be careful, to be guarded on?
The biggest challenge was developers who didn't want to let go of the old mindset, who were just sticking to the mindset, yeah, I'm the developer, I just code and you test. But that was the biggest challenge. But you can also solve that by always including them, ask them a lot of questions already during development on how they handle several scenarios, so that they have to think about these scenarios already, so that they don't produce the bugs in the end, so they indirectly test it already.
I do something similar. I actually have what I call the handshake, when I tell the developers, quote unquote, what I intend to test. And all of a sudden you see the developer saying, oh yeah, wait a second, I'll get back to you. And you realize that even on the theoretical perspective, you just thought about something that he or she saw immediately that, oh yeah, it's going to fail on that. So yeah. I like that approach. Yeah, use it often. Excellent. So Jana, I wanted to thank you very much. There's quite a lot of good feedback here. People like the fact that it's very concrete what you were saying. And I have to agree. Meaning, a lot of times we talk about a quality culture and something that is like very, very high level, but you were able to say, no, wait a second. It can be something very concrete, and let's talk about it. And I think you made a very, very good point on that.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much.